My fiancée announced at brunch with her friends, "I'm keeping my ex's last name after we marry. It sounds better than yours." They all laughed. I smiled and said, "That's practical." Then I excused myself to the bathroom and canceled the $4,000 honeymoon deposit. Her friends' faces when I walked out the front door instead. Original post. I, 31 male, was engaged to my fiancée for 8 months. We've been together for 2.5 years total. I thought I knew her. Turns out I knew a carefully curated version of her that she wanted me to see. Quick background. She was married before. Young, dumb, lasted about 18 months. They divorced when she was 24. No kids, no shared assets, supposedly a clean break. Or so I thought. Here's what I didn't fully process until recently. She never changed her name back after the divorce. She kept her ex-husband's last name this entire time. When I asked about it early in our relationship, she said it was just easier for work stuff and she'd deal with it eventually. I didn't push because people have complicated feelings about names. I get it. Some people hate paperwork. Some people have professional reputations built around a name. I try to be understanding. Fast forward to 3 weeks before our wedding. We're at brunch with 4 of her closest friends. Nice place downtown, bottomless mimosas, everyone's in a good mood. We're talking about wedding details, flowers, seating charts, the DJ playlist, whether the cousins who hate each other should be at the same table. Normal stuff. Then one of her friends asks, "So what's the name situation? Are you hyphenating or going full traditional?" My fiancé laughs. Not a nervous laugh. A confident, already decided laugh. The kind of laugh that tells you someone's been waiting for the right moment to say something. "Oh, I'm keeping my current name," she says. "It just flows better. Sorry, babe, but your last name is kind of plain." I blinked. "Your current name? You mean your ex-husband's name?" "Well, yeah, but it's been mine for 5 years now. It's who I am professionally. All my licenses, my certifications, my LinkedIn, everything is under this name." And honestly, she looked at her friends like she was about to deliver a punchline everyone was waiting for. "His last name has a nice ring to it. Yours sounds like an insurance company or a tax firm." Her friends burst out laughing. All 4 of them. Like this was the funniest thing they'd heard all month. One of them actually choked on her mimosa. Her maid of honor, the one I'd actually thought liked me, literally said, "Oh my God, she's not wrong though. No offense. No offense." Sure, because that makes it fine. I sat there for a moment, just processing. My fiancée was planning to marry me while permanently keeping another man's name because it sounded better. And she announced this at brunch, in front of 4 of her friends. Like it was a joke we were all in on together. Like my feelings about it were irrelevant. I smiled. I don't know why. Maybe because my brain was already calculating exit strategies. "That's practical," I said. "Names are important. You should definitely keep the one that feels right to you." She looked relieved, almost smug. "See? I knew you'd understand. You're so chill about stuff like this. That's why I love you." "Totally chill," I said. "Hey, excuse me for a sec." Bathroom. I got up, walked past the bathrooms, and went straight out the back door to the patio where it was quiet. Pulled out my phone. Our honeymoon was a 10-day trip to an all-inclusive resort. Beachfront suite, couples massage package, the whole fantasy we'd been planning for months. We'd booked it 7 months ago. Total cost was about $8,200. I'd put down a $4,000 deposit from my own savings because she said she'd cover her half closer to the date. That date kept getting pushed back, by the way. First it was 3 months out, then 2 months, then after the wedding when things calmed down. I called the resort, explained I needed to cancel due to unforeseen circumstances. The woman on the phone was genuinely sympathetic, said I'd lose $800 as a cancellation fee, but they'd refund the remaining $3,200 to my card within 5 to 7 business days. "Are you sure?" she asked. "This is non-reversible." "I'm sure." Done. Then I texted my best man. "Wedding's off. I'll explain later. Please don't tell anyone yet. Need to figure out logistics." Then I walked back inside, but not to the table. I walked straight through the restaurant toward the front entrance. I could see our table from across the room. My fiancée was laughing about something with her friends, mimosa in hand, apparently not even curious about what was taking me so long in the bathroom. I made eye contact with her maid of honor first. She looked confused, then alarmed. Then my fiancée turned around to see what her friend was staring at. I gave a small wave. Not sarcastic, not dramatic. Just a wave. Then I walked out the front door. My phone started buzzing before I even reached my car. I didn't answer. I drove to my buddy's place across town. He took one look at my face and didn't ask questions. Just handed me a beer and said, "Couch is yours as long as you need it." That's a real friend right there. That was Sunday. It's now Wednesday. I've had 83 missed calls, approximately 200 texts ranging from "what is wrong with you" to "please just talk to me" to "you're going to regret this." And her mother left me a voicemail calling me a coward who can't handle a strong woman with her own identity. My fiancé's latest text, received about an hour ago. "You're seriously ending everything because of a joke about names? You need professional help. Also, the honeymoon deposit better not be affected by your little tantrum, or I swear to God, I will make your life difficult." Yeah, about that deposit. I'm not responding to anyone yet. I know I need to have an actual conversation eventually, but right now, I just need to process. And maybe figure out how I missed this many red flags for 2.5 years. Because looking back, this wasn't the first time she made me feel small in front of other people. It was just the first time I let myself see it clearly. Reddit, was I wrong to walk out like that? Part of me thinks I should have at least explained myself in the moment. But another part of me thinks, why? She said what she meant. Her friends agreed. They all thought it was hilarious at my expense. What exactly was there to explain? Update 1, 4 days later. Things have escalated significantly since my original post. Thank you to everyone who validated that I'm not insane. The number of people who said, "it's not about the name, it's about the disrespect," really helped me articulate what I was feeling. So here's what happened. Monday morning, my ex-fiancée showed up at my buddy's apartment. I don't know how she found out I was there. Probably tracked my phone location before I thought to turn off sharing. She was banging on the door at 7:45 a.m. while we were both trying to get ready for work. My buddy answered. I heard her say, "I know he's here. Tell him to stop acting like a child and come talk to me like an adult." My buddy said, "He's not accepting visitors right now. Maybe try calling ahead." She pushed past him into the apartment, literally shoved him aside with her shoulder. I came out of the bathroom to find her standing in the living room, arms crossed, looking like a manager about to fire someone. Her, "This is absolutely ridiculous. You walk out of brunch without a word, cancel our honeymoon behind my back, ghost me for 2 days straight, and I have to track you down like you're a missing person. Do you have any idea how embarrassing this is for me?" Me? Embarrassing for you? Her, yes. My friends think you had some kind of mental breakdown. My mom thinks you're emotionally unstable. I've had to make excuses for your behavior all weekend. Me? What excuses did you make exactly? Her, I told them you've been under a lot of stress at work, and you overreacted to a harmless joke. Which is true, by the way. It was a joke. About names. Normal couples joke about stuff like this constantly. I just looked at her. You announced, in front of 4 people, that you're keeping your ex-husband's last name because mine isn't good enough. Then everyone laughed at me. Together. That's not a joke between partners. That's you using me as entertainment. Her, oh my God, you're being so sensitive about this. I didn't say your name wasn't good enough. I said mine sounds better. There's a difference. Me, your name, that you got from your ex-husband, the man you were married to before me, the man you apparently still want to be connected to. Her, it's been my name for 5 years. It's on my professional licenses, my business cards, my email signature. Everything. What was I supposed to do? Change literally everything. Me, you could have talked to me about it. Privately. Before announcing it to your friends at brunch like it was already decided. Before making it a joke at my expense. She rolled her eyes. I didn't think you'd be this dramatic about it. Most guys wouldn't care about something this trivial. Most guys aren't being asked to marry someone who wants to keep another man's name because it isn't prestigious enough. That's when her tone shifted. She went from annoyed to genuinely angry real fast. You know what? Fine. You want to throw away 2.5 years over a name? Fine. Be that petty. But you don't get to just cancel things without consequences. That honeymoon was OURS. Half that deposit was mine. Me, you never paid your half. You kept saying you'd cover it closer to the date. The entire $4,000 deposit came from my account. My money. My decision. Her. We were engaged. What's yours is mine. That's literally how marriage works. Me. We're not married. And apparently we're not going to be. So no, that's not how anything works. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she said something that genuinely made my jaw drop. I want to ring back. If you're not going to marry me, I at least deserve some compensation for wasting 2 years of my life on someone like you. The ring. The one I spent 3 months saving for. The one I custom designed with a jeweler because I wanted something unique for her. The one she was currently wearing on her finger while demanding I give her more. Me. That's not how engagement rings work legally. If the engagement is called off, the ring goes back to whoever purchased it, regardless of who ended things. Her. That's such a typical man thing to say. I wore this ring for 8 months. I showed it to everyone I know. I planned an entire wedding around this ring. You don't get to just take it back because you decided to have a tantrum at a restaurant. Me. I'm not taking it back. I'm asking for it back. There's a legal distinction. Her face went red. You're going to regret this. My father is a lawyer. I know exactly what my rights are. She stormed out without returning the ring, slammed the door hard enough to shake the walls. My buddy just stood there looking stunned. After a minute, he said, "Dude, how long has she been like that?" Honestly, I think she's always been like that. I just kept making excuses for it. That night, I got an email from her mother. For full paragraphs about how I'd humiliated her daughter publicly, how I was throwing away a wonderful woman over my fragile ego, and how I needed to apologize immediately and fix this before it's too late. The last line was, she was planning to take your name eventually, after you proved you deserved that kind of commitment. You couldn't even give her time. Eventually, after we were already married, after I proved I deserved it, while she walked down the aisle as Mrs. her ex-husband. I didn't respond. Tuesday, I took the day off work and handled logistics. Called our wedding vendors. Fortunately, we hadn't paid final deposits on most things yet. The caterer, the DJ, the florist, the photographer. The venue was the issue. We put down $2,500 total, split between us. The coordinator was understanding and said they'd return my portion directly, but my ex-fiancée would need to request hers separately. Wednesday, my sister, she's a paralegal, reminded me that in our state, engagement rings given as conditional gifts are legally returnable if the engagement is broken off. The law is clear on this regardless of who initiated the breakup. So Wednesday afternoon, I sent my ex a formal text. Per state law regarding conditional gifts, I'm requesting the return of the engagement ring within 14 days. I prefer to handle this amicably, but I will pursue legal remedies if necessary. Her response came in 3 minutes. LOL, good luck with that. You broke up with me. You don't get to demand a single thing. Then her maid of honor texted me. You're massively overreacting. She didn't mean it the way it sounded. You should really think about what you're throwing away here. I replied, I thought about it carefully. That's exactly why I left. She didn't respond. Update 2, 10 days later. Hey Reddit. Things got messy before they got resolved, but I think I'm finally through the worst of it. After my last update, my ex went scorched earth. Not publicly on social media. She's too image conscious for that, but privately through our mutual social circle. She started calling everyone we knew together. Her version of events. I had cold feet and abandoned her at brunch without warning and then threatened her with lawyers over a piece of jewelry. She conveniently left out the part where she announced she was keeping her ex-husband's name because mine wasn't good enough and that all her friends laughed at me. I know this because 4 different mutual friends reached out to ask me what actually happened. When I told them the full story, 2 of them immediately said, yeah, honestly, that tracks with what I've seen from her. And one said, I always thought she talked down to you. That last comment stung. How did other people see it? But I couldn't. The ring situation came to a head last Friday. I received a letter from a law firm, her dad's firm specifically. It was a cease and desist demanding I immediately stop harassing my ex about the ring and threatening legal action if I continued to make false claims about ownership of marital property. Marital property. We weren't married. I showed it to my sister. She laughed so hard she snorted her coffee. This isn't even a legitimate legal threat, she said. This is her father doing his daughter a favor on company letterhead. He's trying to intimidate you with legal-sounding language. A cease and desist for what exactly? Asking for your own property back through a text message? That's not harassment by any legal definition. She helped me draft a response. Professional, factual, no emotion. I was exercising my legal right to reclaim a conditional gift following a broken engagement. If the ring was not returned within 14 days, I would file in small claims court and let a judge decide. We cited the specific statute in our state. Sent it certified mail that Saturday. Monday afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. It was her father. He started with the condescending voice. "Son, I think we should discuss this situation like reasonable adults. Man to man." I agree completely. That's why I sent a formal letter instead of arguing over text messages. You're making this much more difficult than it needs to be. My daughter is hurt. She feels completely blindsided by your decision. The least you can do is let her keep the ring as, let's call it closure. Emotional compensation. With respect, the ring cost me $6,200. That's not closure. That's a major financial loss for me. I saved for 3 months for that ring. He went quiet. I don't think he knew how much it was worth. That seems rather excessive for someone at your income level. I actually laughed at that. My income level? You don't know anything about my finances. And frankly, that's completely irrelevant to the legal question here. The ring was a conditional gift. The condition, marriage, is not being fulfilled. The relevant statute is clear. I'm happy to let a judge decide if you disagree. The law isn't always about what's technically fair. Actually, in this specific case, it is. Your daughter received a gift conditional on marriage. No marriage, no gift. That's not complicated. He hung up on me without another word. Thursday, I got a text from my ex. First time she contacted me directly in almost a week. "My father told me about your conversation. He says you're being completely unreasonable. I'm trying to heal and move on with my life, and you're making that impossible. Don't you have any basic human decency?" I replied, "I have plenty of decency. I also have receipts and a clear understanding of the law. Return the ring, and you'll never hear from me again. This can be over whenever you want it to be." Her, "You would actually take me to court over jewelry? After everything we shared together?" Me, "You would actually keep a ring from a wedding that isn't happening? From a man you publicly humiliated? That seems stranger to me, honestly." Her, "Whatever. Fine. If you want it back that badly, come get it yourself. I'm not paying for shipping. I arranged to pick it up Saturday. Brought my buddy as a witness because I'm not stupid enough to show up alone. She handed it over at her apartment door without making eye contact. Didn't invite us in. Didn't say a single word. Just held out the box and closed the door the second I took it. My buddy said afterward, "That was anticlimactic." Maybe, but I'll take anticlimactic over dramatic any day of the week. Final financial tally. Engagement ring recovered. $6,200 value. Honeymoon deposit refund. $3,200. Lost $800 to cancellation fee. Venue deposit returned. $1,250, my half. Why lost? $800 honeymoon cancellation fee. About $350 in miscellaneous small deposits that weren't refundable. 2.5 years with someone who didn't actually respect me. That last one is the expensive part. But it was also an investment that was never going to pay off no matter how much more I put in. I found out through a mutual friend who works with my ex that she had already told her coworkers weeks ago that she was keeping her ex's name after the wedding. The brunch announcement wasn't her revealing a decision to me. It was her letting me know publicly in front of witnesses, so I couldn't argue about it in private. She'd already decided. The joke was just the delivery method. That realization hit different. Understanding that it was calculated, not spontaneous, not careless, deliberate. Final update, 3 weeks later. Last update. Promise. Things have settled into something resembling normal. Here's the final resolution. The ring is sold. Wasn't going to keep it. Too much associated baggage. Found a reputable jeweler who gave me $4,800 for it. Less than I paid, but better than expected for resale. That money went straight into my savings account. The venue eventually refunded my full portion after some back and forth. My ex apparently never bothered to collect hers. Don't know if she forgot, doesn't want to deal with the reminder, or just doesn't care about $1,250. Not my problem anymore. I moved back into my apartment last weekend. It felt strange at first. Lots of memories in that space. Her stuff was mostly already gone since she'd been gradually moving things to her place before the wedding anyway. I did a deep clean, rearranged all the furniture, bought some new artwork for the walls. It's starting to feel like my space again instead of our space. My ex and I haven't spoken since the ring exchange. I blocked her number, not because I'm afraid of what she might say, but because I simply don't want to hear it anymore. Whatever narrative she's constructing, whoever she's blaming, it's not my concern. Through mutual friends, I heard she's been telling everyone that she dodged a bullet, that I was never going to be successful enough anyway, and she always knew deep down something was wrong. Which is interesting, because if that's true, why was she so desperate to get me back those first few days? Why did she send her father to negotiate with me? Why did everyone act like I was the one making a terrible mistake? People rewrite their own history to protect their self-image. I understand that impulse. Whatever helps her sleep at night. The thing that stayed with me most is something my sister said during one of our conversations last week. She asked me, did you ever actually feel like you were her first choice? Or did you always feel like you were convenient? I didn't answer her at the time, but I've been thinking about that question constantly. The truth is, I always felt like I was trying to prove something to her. Like I was perpetually auditioning for a role I could never quite earn. She'd make these little comments about my job not being prestigious enough, my apartment being too small, my friends being kind of basic, my hobbies being a waste of time, that weren't direct insults but weren't support either. Death by 1,000 small cuts over 2.5 years. The name announcement at brunch wasn't an isolated incident. It was just the loudest, most public version of something that had been happening quietly the entire relationship. She didn't actually respect me. She just needed someone who would put up with her while she figured out what she really wanted. Someone in the comments of my first post wrote, she didn't want a husband. She wanted an upgrade in lifestyle that came with a downgrade in name prestige. You were a convenient accessory, not an actual partner. That hurt to read at the time, but I think it was completely accurate. I'm not dating anyone right now. Probably won't be for a while. I need to understand why I stayed with someone who treated me that way for so long. Why I kept explaining away behavior that should have been deal breakers. Why I needed other people to point out what I should have seen myself. But I'm genuinely okay. Not pretending to be okay. Not white-knuckling through each day. Just actually honestly okay. My buddy told me yesterday that I seemed different. Lighter. Less tense. Like I was carrying something heavy for years and finally put down. I think he's right. For anyone reading this who's in a similar situation, where you're with someone who makes you feel small, who mocks you publicly and expects you to laugh along, who treats your contributions as obligations while treating their own preferences as sacred, you deserve better than that. You really do. And sometimes the best thing you can do is smile politely, excuse yourself to the bathroom, and walk straight out the front door instead. They'll figure it out eventually. But by then, you'll already be gone.